Welcome to Dental Unscripted, where Mike Dinzio and Paula Quinn break down the practice ownership journey, one episode at a time. Starting up, buying, and running a successful dental practice.
What up, guys? Hey, welcome back to another episode of Dental Unscripted. My name's Mike Dinzio, as you guys know, and we are doing another episode live here. It's broadcasting to Facebook, let's see here, YouTube, Instagram, all the things. I'm excited because today we've got a great speaker and host and friend and partner and all the things. We're gonna dig into some marketing today, specifically on SEO, search engine optimization. Let's debunk that. What is it? It's elusive. People don't really know how it works, but it's supposed to be important. I've got a fantastic guy on the show today, so let's get right into it. I don't have any housekeeping other than follow, like, subscribe. Like I always tell you guys, please review us, give us the 5 stars, all the things. We love doing this. We love giving you guys great unscripted content. I can vouch that today is specifically unscripted. It always is, but today it very much is. We've got a hard stop. But Guido Tabano with Market, the CMO is founder, owner, whatever we want to call it. Guido, welcome to the show, buddy. Welcome to the show.
Thanks so much for having me. It's a pleasure.
Yeah, buddy. Yeah, no, it's a pleasure for you to be on our show. So today we're talking and breaking down SEO, but before we really do that, I want to hear about Market My Market. Like, what is it all about? Why did you start the company? All the things. Let's get into that.
Absolutely. So Market My Market has a very interesting start. It started about over a decade ago with the two partners, Chase and Ryan, as a legal marketing company. And my background for the past, 20 years, I hate aging myself, has been in like REITs and with, self-storage. And a long time ago, maybe 13 years ago, when SEO, search engine optimization, started to become big with Google searches, it's like, as a storage company with a very big portfolio, we needed to kind of be on top of that. So I didn't want what everyone else in the industry was doing, which is fine. These marketing companies that all use the same people in the industry. So I knew legal marketing was the best that there is. It is so expensive, so granular. These lawyers pay thousands of dollars for a lead, and I found these guys, and they were my marketing company for the past 10 years. And about 3.5 years ago, I wanted to change. Like, I had enough. I wanted to do this myself. So I came on board, and I had a really good friend who at the same time was in a DSO for dental, and she left and she opened her own first oral surgery practice. And here we are with hundreds of dental clients later and a big marketing portfolio, and we're dental marketers. And since then,
the marketing companies always have like that one dentist that they tried it and it worked out really well, and then they did another and another and another. It's just like it's the same story with you. Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, like, I had a lot invested. She's one of my best friends, so we couldn't let her down. But we realized early on, competitiveness next to legal, it's about half, if not even more, less competitive, because it's like you get an attorney and they want to be ranked number one in a big city like Miami or Chicago, and it's just not like that in dental. So
yeah, it's totally true, and you're right. Attorneys, CPAs, all the professional folks in the world spend a lot of money on marketing just to get one opportunity. So they throw big dollars. It kind of reminds me of like big case dentists where, in fact, we talked to one the other day and they just want the big implants, right? It's kind of like that kind of marketing, but let's not get into that. Like, that's a very niche thing. Let's talk SEO. And when I met you, for the first time, like, oh, here we go, another marketing company. I get calls like this all the time. And someone said, you got to meet Guido. He is the real deal. I'm like, okay, let's meet Guido. And I love the name, right? The name's the best. But essentially, when I got on the phone with you, you started talking about Google Maps. And I
Yes.
know everybody's been talking about Google Maps for a minute. And I know personally that Google Maps is kind of the way Google has been trying to push everybody. You are the
Mhm.
only one really breaking that down in a smart way. I would love to break that down today, but and what all that means and kind of the history of that. So, but
Yeah.
let's not get crazy here. Let's just talk real quick for the audience to just let's lower the expectation for a second. What is SEO? Let's just do that first. Don't get
Yeah.
crazy. What is
So
SEO?
search engine optimization just means with all different searches that are popping up, and it's a lot of different platforms today. And I mean, everyone usually always talks about Google, but we got to talk about the chat GPTs that are coming into market right now and taking share faster than ever before. But it's really like making your website optimized so you show up in searches, right? And that is in multiple different like ways. So we like to refer to it as digital marketing because I think SEO has like a really sort of broad connotation. It's like just saying like you're a general dentist. Like general dentists can do a lot of stuff. And it's the same thing. There's a lot of different components that go into search engine optimization. So we always want, and you too on the consultant side, our clients to really understand like what the scope of work is and what does that mean. And that changes depending on markets. Because the way someone searches for a dentist in West Virginia is a lot different than how someone searches in New York City, right? And there's other factors that come into play, especially in dentistry. So it's really a granular sort of market by market thing, literally,
So I
which is why
think
it's
so
the
I
name.
th- so I think that's really good. I want to go there because I think a lot of companies, marketing companies, treat every dentist similar in all different markets. And again, this is part of the attraction of why we started talking to you. But so let's just back up. SEO, search engine optimization. So what you said was it's the way, well, in other words, it's my words, it's the way Google picks you up organically when someone searches, right?
That's right, right.
It's as simple as that. So search engine optimization. So the way I always say it is kind of like Google's constantly crawling in the ether, crawling, reading, spiders everywhere, reading, sending it back to the mothership. I always tell doctors, like, do you remember when the internet first came out? Now I'm dating myself, and it was all Yahoo, and you would search something, and it would be like, this isn't what I searched at all, and you'd have to scroll. Do you remember this shit? Like,
That's right.
it was just like, and then today, how much better it's gone. When we search things, we get pissed that it's not the first one. It's like, what? That's not what
That's
I
right.
searched. We start so SEO is really important for that. And Google has gotten really good at it. And now Chat GPT is kind of throwing another thing, which we can go there with this episode. So that is SEO. If you're not doing SEO, you're not showing up, right? Like you're not organically
You're
showing.
gonna be invisible, which is why doctors come to you and they're like, "Oh, I've done the same thing forever," and all of a sudden, in the past year, their new client base is like falling because people are transient more so than ever before. If you look at how sort of post COVID and like in the world today, people move very frequently, especially under 30. Sometimes move every 2 to 5 years.
Mm.
So your market in literally in a neighborhood is not what it is anymore. It's not like you find your family dentist and you're there for 30 years. Just like you're not in the same house you grew up in anymore. You're transient.
Yeah.
And that's becoming more and more predominant, with just the way the world works and us being connected.
Are you talking
So
about like the cache and things? So when you move around and you're searching, it changes all that. Yeah.
that too, but even physically, like I do not live in the same place that I even went to college or where I grew up, or even I lived 5 years ago in New York City. It's like, as a nation.
We're having a technical difficulty where Guido just went dark for a second. Yeah, the SEO is so important. Hey, Guido, you're back. Sorry,
I'm
technical
sorry.
difficulty. What were you were saying was is people are changing and constantly searching differently. Yeah.
That's right, right. And there's trends, right? I mean, if you look at the news today too, and you're looking at who your target audience is, it's like that's why we start everything with Google Maps and kind of looking. There's some tools that tell you like where your office is, where people are going to travel from based on IP addresses and phones. Regardless of if you're using ChatGPT or not, you're still using Apple Maps or Google Maps to find directions and kind of hover around. So that's not going anywhere. So like that's your basis for your marketing plan. And when you're like either opening a practice, buying an existing practice, or kind of looking at how you're going to expand what's currently going on, you have to look, number one, because populations don't increase overnight. You have to look at the demographics and sort of how many searches are going on. So the thing is like, if you're happy with your dentist, you're not saying I need a dentist near me. And if you're happy with the treatment plan, you're not saying how much is Invisalign, how much is an All-on-X. You have a trust factor there. So those are your opportunities, not how many DSOs are in the market, dentist to patient ratio anymore. It's searches. Because like you don't wake up and you're like, oh, hey, Guido and Michael, I want to go to the dentist today and go get an extraction and, spend whatever. Like it's just, just like in self-storage, you don't wake up and you're like, let me rent a $500 storage space today. It's just not, it's a service industry. It's there because you need it. And that's why the searches matter so much in sort of driving patient flow and traffic and looking at growth.
So we've got some ground to cover in a very short period of time. Let's pause on you and the differentiators and put that in the end of the episode. So now that we've identified what SEO is, let's talk a little bit about what your marketing company should be doing for you for SEO. Meaning, okay, so we know we need to do it. We understand it now based on what we've just been talking about for 12 minutes. Now let's cover, like, I get a lot of proposals as a consultant. It's like, okay, well, you could do the SEO package for 500, and then you could do the SEO package for 1,000, or you could do the SEO package for 1,500. What in the hell? What's the difference between all of this? Question A. And question B, what should we be looking for as far as activity goes once we chose one of those packages? Like, sure. break that down a little bit, because I think dentists hear that and they're like, oh, well, I could get away with $500 package. Why do I need the 1,500 package? And it's just like, they don't know how to quantify that decision. Does that make sense?
Yep, absolutely. So let's start from the basics. Anyone that's offering you a package you want to run as far away as possible from. No two dentists are the same. And it's like, you going in and being like, I have one price for an implant. It's like, no patients are the same too. What has to happen is you need to have a discovery call, and based on like what your needs are specifically and what your goals are, has to back into the marketing plan. For instance, two general dentists could be totally different. One may take insurance, one may be fee for service, one does ortho, one doesn't, one places implants. They're two totally different scopes. Yes. So, I think dentists like things that they can relate to and they understand a package. But it's like, what the heck today can you get for $500, right? You can't even whiten someone's teeth for that much. So like, how are you getting good marketing and really understand what's going on for that too? So you got to take a look back at that also. Two, you have to have a realistic.
We have to have a realistic what? We lost him again. I think, again, while he's coming back in, I think he's right. Every office has to be customized in their approach. So number two, go Guido, number two.
So, you want to look at what realistic growth is in a market. Anyone that's promising you overnight growth with search engine, it doesn't just happen like that. You have to create content. You have to optimize sites. There's a window, where you send a message to Google to crawl and index what you did. That could take anywhere from 4 to 8 weeks, sometimes longer. It's not, if everybody could do it, they would all do it and we wouldn't have this problem. So like, you have to have a really realistic expectation for growth, like, what does that look like? How many new patients you have now? Is like 20% growth in 6 months feasible? And there's other things too. I think, one of the things also that marketing companies should talk about is quantifying leads. It's not anymore about being on page one or having 1 million reviews. It's not enough. I'll use this example because in like personal injury, like you want to be on page one, and, our background there, it's like, the calls to action, they call them CTAs, what gets someone to go is like, I won $20 million, right? There's no exchange of money if that attorney takes your case until they win. So it's much easier for people to sign up. In dentistry in the past year, there's an exchange of insurance or money. So when they land on your site, like once you're on page one or you have the high number of reviews, they ask questions, most frequently asked question, do you take my insurance? That is a CTA. 2, are you a family-run practice and not a DSO? And what do I mean by that? The sort of the story branding On the doctor profile, it doesn't need to be a picture of you on vacation skiing with your kid and your dog. That's great. But like what they're looking for is that they're coming to you. You're not doing procedures on them they don't need. Why did you open this community? That you listen to them, and other things too. It's like in ortho, it's a very retail driven thing in some of these cosmetic things. It's like everything in America today is like how much you pay on a cash flow basis, right?
Yeah.
You open a new practice. How much can I afford to pay for phones that you don't look at total price, and neither do people? You haven't seen a car commercial in the past 3 years for the price of a car. It's like, get this BMW for $499.
Yeah.
And houses and interest rates are still at an all-time high. We don't have a housing crisis because banks have found a way to position it to work with people's budgets. Go on Zillow. This house is $2,500 a month. It's the same thing in dentistry. If you don't play that game, you are not going to get conversions. And it doesn't matter if you're fee for service, at a network, in network, you're still going to have to create pages that target insurance to get your phones to ring.
Yeah, I think that's perfect because it's all about what people are searching in your area, full circle here. And if people in your area are searching MetLife dental insurance, a fee for service office still wants that call. You just need to have that conversation on the front end. And so what you're saying is your website needs to be optimized for that search, because in this area you've got a corporation, an employer that has MetLife, and so all the people in that area are searching MetLife, but
they don't know any better.
They don't, and so what you're saying is like, be smarter about how we are optimizing your website. I'm sure there's lots of marketing companies are doing all the right things, but what you are talking about is just doing a little more extra research per office and then optimizing based on your market specifically.
Yes, I'll give you a couple really good examples. Like for instance, we get clients all the time that come to us, right? Like Seattle is a great example. Seattle, like you're not to rank you for all of Seattle as a dentist. Number one, can you not handle that population? But there's different communities there. There's like other areas like this are like major cities like Nashville, Tennessee. Fort Lauderdale is a great example. We had a client, they're optimizing for all of Fort Lauderdale. There's 1 million towns and communities there too. Fort Lauderdale by the Sea, Wilton Manor, Oakland Park. If you don't send Google that message that you service those areas by having geo-specific pages that target them, it doesn't know to show you. And there's an art to this. You can't just use a chat GPT to write a page that does it, because you're not going to rank. It picks up on connector words. So it's like your content game has to be really on point today. And like you get what you pay for. Going back to that package thing, a lot of times my dentists get very sort of like caught up in the content we write. And like, we're not writing for a medical journal. We're writing for like a 5th grader essentially. So it's like, no one is like, people read in snippets, right? And Google is searching content and code. A lot of times our clients get very focused on the aesthetics, but that's secondary. Google will show a site that doesn't look good.
I want to talk about that because I get a lot of startups coming through Next Level, right? And they get very, very caught up in the look and feel. They're dentists. They're artists in a lot of ways. They're artists. So the aesthetics, they just picked out the beautiful equipment and the beautiful chandelier and all the finish levels of the office, and then they start setting up their website and they want everything to match. And I can appreciate that. I'm not going to say that aesthetics doesn't make an impact. It does. But what you're saying is Google doesn't give a shit about aesthetics. Now, patients might be more attracted, and there's probably a conversation to have about that. But as it relates to beast mode SEO, what we're talking about, aesthetics doesn't matter. Is that what I'm hearing you say?
For searches, no. Once you get found as part of the second thing with calls to action and kind of the buying decisions, yeah, but people follow the same patterns. They ask a question, they look at your reviews, they look at the doctor profile, they look at the financial page, and then they go to contact us. Those are the 5 most searched pages usually on a website, right? Sometimes you get a blog, again, for that question they're asking that picks up traffic. But we can talk about like the blog strategy too in a little bit also, which has to be sort of market specific also. But, everyone focuses, I think, on what they know, and dentists can visually kind of tangibly see what the website looks like. But here's my plan on that. I'm all about aesthetics. I'm a firm believer that, you got to present yourself well. But the average American has no freaking idea what Sage, Aspen, MB2, these mega billion-dollar dental companies are. They have no idea, and you can ask your friends at dinner. Right. They know, dentists, da 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 da, in this market that is like really great and they love them, or, their kid's pediatric dentist. And the decision there is sort of the same way that you find your mechanic that you love to when your car breaks down. It's a very sort of decision that follows a process. There's not a lot of time like searching around like, oh my God, I love this website. I love this. Like they see it in a second and you make a decision. You're not buying a bag here from Louis Vuitton. It just doesn't work like that.
I say this all the time with even my marketing companies and even our marketing guy is like, look, like it's about patterns that we have in our brain when you're scrolling through Instagram and you're just doing the clicks to make a call or make a purchase. It becomes less about the feel and the vibe, and it becomes more about patterns, behaviors, right, and processes. And so wording, it's amazing how we've gone from people actually read shit to people don't read shit. It's like you could say, hey, you're an idiot, click here, and they won't even see the you're an idiot. They're just going to click there.
You read snippets. You reread instead. We've been trained like that, right? And that's where the chat GPTs pick up on, they're picking up on blogs, they're picking up on snippets. Right now, the Q&A on your website matters more than anything. So, I literally have this argument with a lot of dentists all the time because some of the frequently asked questions in cosmetics is like, how much is Invisalign? How much is an implant? Google, just like with restaurants and ChatGPT, they want to show a range. I don't need to know exactly what you charge, but I need to know that an implant is between 4,000 and 7,000 in this market. So when someone asks a question, your site is ranked and it's showing you, and because again, going back, you don't just pick a restaurant on Open Tables or Google without looking at how many dollar signs it has.
Yes,
the reviews.
it's true.
It's the same thing in dentistry. That's the retail component. So you need to play the game. It's just how you position yourself. I'm not saying you're putting up a big sign that's like, oh, $79 cleanings and you're discounting yourself, but you're being transparent. And that's what everyone wants today, transparency, you know?
The consumer's the same, whether they're getting a pedicure, a haircut, a dental appointment, or a steak dinner. I think dentists I know a lot of dentists, a lot of clients, right? They still see themselves, which they are, a medical doctor, professional, right? They see themselves as that. But the truth is, they're not. The consumer doesn't see them as that. And they're constantly having conversations with me about fee for service and dropping fees and whatever. And it's like until we'll call it the great consolidation that happened to medical, and now everybody's in a hospital system. Until that happens to dentistry, you folks are going to be considered as a retail consumer product. Trust me, you don't want it the other way, where the medical doctors make $100,000 and they work for a CEO hospital. If you want to be treated that way, then go do that. But if you still want to be in private practice, you need to be considered as this spa, this consumer behavior game that we're talking about, right?
Yes.
That's what we're talking about.
No, that's exactly it. Yep. And you got to look at the market, right? Like I get a lot. It's like, I want a spa-like dental office. It's like, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it, but it's a dental office. It's in medical. You can have really beautiful medical offices that cater to some people, but at the end of the day, the buying decision is kind of the same. Unfortunately, dentists aren't like cool and trendy like dermatology or med spas. You're about as cool as cardiology.
They could be. They could be if they behaved that way in the office, but they don't. Yeah. Right.
Well, listen, there's always exceptions where you get like the ones that have a big social media presence, and they usually have to deal with, aesthetics, the new fields of like airway and biometric dentistry, stuff like that, where, you get a following because like, mom groups, people just are looking for that. But for most of your people, they're not finding you on social media. They're finding you on these searches. And then social media is kind of verifying that, you're valid and you have a presence there,
Yeah, 100%. All right, let's
Mhm.
spend this last leg because I know you got to go. Your time is very precious. Let's spend this last leg before you got to drop and take that call, and let's talk about why MMM Market My Market is different. Not so much a sales pitch, but you're telling us what we need to do, how
Yes.
customized things need to be. Can you give us the beast mode as the title suggests in this episode?
Yes.
Give us some hacks. Like why are
Okay,
you guys
so
doing it? Yeah,
let's
go.
start. Let's start from where all the major cool stuff comes from. We have another company called the Local Agency, where our team comes from a franchise and has worked on maps on an enterprise level. We're one of the only companies in the U.S. that does this, and pretty much it's very cool. Not that other people can't do it, but we do it on an enterprise level. So you could take an Aspen Dental and optimize 2,000 of their maps for all different things and what they're specialized in. We're in maps all the time, so we understand what's going on there more
Google
so than
Maps. We're talking about
Google
Google
Maps,
Maps.
yes,
Yes.
than any other thing, which is where 40% of patients still come from, right? There have been a
Amazing.
lot of changes there, but our like sort of the reports that we do with start with the discovery come because we get franchise owners that are like, where do I open in Chicago, right? And we're able to hot map that. And the reports, and I highly suggest you take us up on one of these free ones, pull in like, is there a housing development that's open? What are the keywords that are searching by volume? Where is the opportunity? What do in-house plans go for? Who's the competition? What are DSOs? What are they charging? You know, where's the growth coming from? What's the section of kids, this age, 55 and over? You know, it's so granular that it sets up the marketing plan for exactly what you need to do. On maps, there's a lot of changes that sort of happened over the past year. Number one, there's categories for dentists. So if you're in the wrong category, Google's not going to show you. Going back to, you said that example before where it's like people get very frustrated before where they search for something and it wouldn't come up. It's like you're looking for a storage space and you get a boat storage company. It's like, no, that's not what I was looking for. And you're in
Right.
a landlocked area.
Yeah.
Same thing in dental. There's a general dentist category. There's cosmetic. There's ortho, perio, endo. They're all different categories, which means you have to stick to those 5 or 6 keywords for those categories. General dentists get dentist near me, hygiene, crowns. You know, there's some overlap with perio because they get implants and oral surgeons. That means you need to stick to that. Number 2, as of a couple months ago, you can actually text from the Google Business Profile. 3, Google's been beta testing sort of scheduling tools from the profile, which means eventually they're probably going to do that because they want engagement. So that means you should probably be looking into some sort of scheduling tool to capture more people there, you know, which means, you know, talking to your practice software, seeing what that looks like. Last thing too, and then I have a couple more tips, is that you started noticing that the socials, Meta, Instagram, and Facebook are now being linked to the Google profiles, which means
Yeah.
something might be happening there. So you need to watch this, right? When you
Yeah.
start seeing things, it means something's going on. You want to be ahead of the curve. You know, the other thing too is, you know, you want to make sure your highlights are on there. This is like your dating profile. So if you don't do pediatrics, don't put it on there. If you don't do sedation, things that bring people in are like cosmetics, payment plans, sedation, those hot keywords that, you know, you're showcasing. Other thing, you need relevant photos on there. Nice photos of your office are great, but that's not what's going to bring people in. They want to see before and after cases, right?
Mm-hmm.
The other thing I'm going to end with is like, it's not more reviews you have, the higher you're going to rank. You can rank on a Google map with 4.3 stars and 33 reviews. After that, the next metrics you want to hit is about 100. And after that, it's like having a company that knows how to play with the algorithm to get you to show, because it's not the more reviews you have, it's engagement, which means you respond to the reviews. You want reviews coming in consistently. You know, that's the name of the game. People are interacting with that profile. You
So
know,
it's not how good and how many per se. It's other things involved here.
it's other things. Yes. Again, you want
Wow.
to make sure that there's not, you know, sometimes doctors buy practices and there's another floating profile that's there that has the same address, and Google's not going to rank you because it's like, who do I show? So you
Yeah.
need to clean up. Everything has to be uniform. Your address, you can't have like suite number on one and then B on another. It has to all be uniform
Yeah.
across all of like the sort of the online platforms, you know.
Yeah,
The
so
other
it's almost like the more obvious of what you are, Google likes that because,
Yeah,
and it makes sense.
making their job easier.
It goes back to my last comment of how before it used to be terrible when you Googled or when you search something. Now it's so good. And
Yeah.
Google loves that it's so good. So if there's some conflicting messaging out there, Google's like,
Yes.
I don't want to be wrong. I don't want to be wrong.
That's right. So you want to make their job easier. It costs them money to crawl your website and do this. So when you play by their rules, that's it, right? As a marketing company, what does that mean? When you put out content, it has to drive traffic. Content, otherwise, I could use ChatGPT and put out thousands of pages about implants or whatever on a site and get it to rank. It doesn't work like that. Content, literally, what all of you should do now when you go home is take a snippet of one of your pages, put it into Google search and see if it comes up. If it comes up on, a bunch of other sites, your marketing company is plagiarizing your content and you're not going to rank. Because Google's also like, who do I show? This happens a lot with dental marketing companies. They have one piece of content about implants or dentures or crowns, and it's on every one of their sites that they created. You will not rank anymore. It just doesn't work like that.
That's
The other
interesting.
thing is you need geo-specific pages. Again, going back to that example in Fort Lauderdale, it is not enough. What markets are you in there? You need a page for each of your procedures that targets that, right? Same thing, you want to target 55 and over communities, which is a great thing for cosmetics. They're getting a lot of disposable income, generational wealth passed along. You need pages that target those areas of the community specifically. So someone searches, or the same thing if you want to target in Seattle Google clients or Microsoft. You need to put it out there so they find you. It's not just like you're there and they're going to come. It just doesn't work like that, you know? Those are the really big tips. And also, we work with sites on WordPress. There's other things out there. We like WordPress because it's good for pushing content. Google likes content and code. And touching briefly on the blog strategy, a lot of dentists are like, why do I need blogs? Why do I need blogs? Well, blogs, if they're done correctly, we write them, but they have the dentist name attached to it. So Google gives it a vote of confidence because they're like, oh, there's a doctor that wrote this blog about implants, not some rando person that did that. There's a certain word count associated with it. And they're also specific to what is going on within that radius that targets people. If you're in West Virginia, don't write a blog about fluoride treatments. No one cares, it's just relevant to there. Or if you're in an area where it's like you can get a teeth whitening kit on Amazon, then don't write about like the 5 foods you shouldn't eat to the whiten your teeth.
So,
It's what's relevant.
I need to talk about that, because a lot of marketing companies, you pay for these packages that we talked about, 500, 1,000, 1,500, and you pick a package and then they just kind of do what they do. And you're hoping that they're doing the research on your area before they publish some kind of article. But if they're not doing that research and they're just recasting or rewriting a blog from 5 years ago that they did for another GP, which is fine, but it has to be relevant to your area, and it has to, obviously not be copied word for word. But there's like that matters. All of this matters, right? So
It all matters, right? So again, going back to the thing too, like while you're in ortho and can I eat a cheeseburger after I get braces, the cool topic, it's probably not going to drive people in your local market. Like those are like national things. Like all you should care about is people that come in and pay for your service. Someone is like landing on your site and they're like in, Arizona and you're in Michigan, that's not a good client. Again, we're not selling a product, we're selling a service. So that means that they don't come in and pay for the service, you don't keep your lights on. Like that's it.
Yeah.
So
Guido, what's one thing, last 4 minutes of the episode here, what's one thing that you could do for the listeners, for the program to help them? Is there, and you don't have to, I'm putting you on the spot, totally unscripted. Is there anything that you could do for them? Because if they like what you're saying and agree with what you're saying, is there something that you could do for them?
yeah, I mean, they should absolutely reach out to us. You can go on Market My Market and our contact information is there, marketmymarket.com. Like we are so happy to do demographic studies all day long and we do discovery calls. I'm honest, not everyone's a good fit for us. I mean, I think our key to growth is just like with you, we ask the right questions. We don't take too many people in a market. We ask expectations. If you've been on 5 or 6 marketing companies, I'm probably not going to be good for you. I don't want to be your 7th one. There might be something else going on in your office outside of a marketing situation, and you might need to fix that before you come to me. And that's the reality of things. There's a lot of factors that go into good marketing. We have a process. We meet with our clients quite frequently, and we meet with them in person too. I mean, there's a relationship. We're not transactional. So it all starts with the discovery call, like with you. I really have no idea what's going on in that market and what your goals are until we really ask questions and dig in. And listen, it's like everyone, sort of has a problem, and there's always some sort of solution to it, but there's no magic bullet. There's no magic solution to marketing. Good marketing follows a process, just like in dentistry. Right? You learn how to do an implant, you learn stuff. It's the same thing with us. You follow the process. But I'm only good as the feedback that I get. So if you don't give us feedback too about what's going on, and then we become transactional, we're never going to get to the point you want to get to.
I think what I heard you say, which is so on point, is there's no such thing as a silver bullet, but marketing does take time, just like consulting takes time. You just can't come in, fix one thing, and the practice is profitable.
Right.
Just like any service provider, it's a process. You have to understand that process. But I also think it needs to be customized. If my consulting firm was very blanket statement and we coach all of our offices exactly the same, that won't work. Same with you. No. If you go in and do marketing for the same type of GP in North Carolina, then New York, then Seattle, then Phoenix, it's not going to work. And so I think what I heard you say is get granular, understand what's going on, come up with a program and a solution, and commit to that program and process and solution, and you're going to get the results you want. It's the same in my business. Same.
Yeah. That's why we work well with you. I mean, we're aligned in the type of clients we look for, and that they follow a process. I think that's really important. And again, there's other factors that come into play. We didn't even talk about paid ads and how a lot of marketing companies tend to focus on that, especially when you first open. It's like you pay for those positions. It's an auction. If you have no rankings, we're going to blow through money. You have no reviews to back it. You're not going to get conversions. Slow and steady always wins the race. You want to push, but you want to push just enough that you never lose care, quality, and control, I say. So it's like,
good luck telling a dentist, a client, hey, this is going to be slow, especially to a startup, right? But there are ways and there's needs for those types of things, but it's all part of a custom strategy. So Guido, thanks for your time. It's time. I know you got to go. I appreciate you. The thing that I want to say lastly is, hey, look below the link down here. If you're watching on YouTube or whatever you're on, we got some contact information, and just get granular. Boy, that was literally beast mode. So thanks for being a beast in this space. And we'll talk to you. We'll talk to you later, brother.
Great. Thanks again.
Thanks, man. Bye.
Thanks for listening. Let us know how you like the show. Rate us on Apple and Spotify. Subscribe and follow for more.